the horizontals.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fish that are like that, which would be kind of weird.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Have a great show.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Peace out.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Peace out.
David.
Getting almost about that time.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like a man who instantly had to take a shit.
Yeah, or change
He
the
did say that
catheter
pretty-
or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, gotta go. Oh, got click.
Maybe
hear you.
maybe Mrs. Hoggs found his other stash. Well, nope, gotta go.
All right, so I guess we got to open up with Swalwell.
I know. It's so celebratory, man. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely beautiful. And then maybe that's a sign of things to come, right? You know, because eventually all these people that are just steep deep in their corruption and scandal, I mean, it's got to come out at some point. You know? Hopefully it's a sign. I've heard there's a lot more, according to Anna. What's her name? Anna something.
Luna?
Anna Luna? Yeah, whatever. She's got.
Alina Luna.
Yeah, she said that her understanding is there's more to come out on him, which doesn't surprise me. And maybe they've had some of this stuff and they've been waiting to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This was apparently well known for a long time.
Yeah, and I think that video's been around for a while with him with that. Apparently she was a prostitute or something, and there was another dude in there, and he's married. So, I mean, and that's, you know, I mean, it'd be one thing if he was just not married, and I mean, it would still get frowned on, but it gets doubly frowned on since he's got a wife.
Yeah. Let's go
I don't
ahead
think
and
she'd-
switch up rooms, guys. All right?
All right, see you there.
All right. See you over on the other side. All right. That was the pre-show for Censorship Sucks. Coming up is the show. Gonna get the show going here. Damn it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, before we start, tell me if you can hear this coming through or not. I'm wanting to play something from my computer, and I want to see if it's actually going through live or not. Hold on.
Okay, go for it. I'm not hearing anything.
Nope.
All right, just wondering. I didn't think it would come through, so we're good.
Okay.
Wait. Now let me try it. Hold on. One more time. Nothing?
Nothing.
Nope.
And nothing still.
Nope.
Trying
Nope.
Oh, that's fine. I already tested. We're good. Yeah.
Okay. It just went silent there. I'm like, what are we doing here? Are we
30 seconds.
la 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 la?
Do. And here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you are live for the very first time tonight, right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 15th, 2026. With me on the mic, I've got Bullhorn Barry. What's going on, Barry?
Just surviving some tornadoes from last night. We got hit again. Nothing hit the ground, but the sirens went blaring again. And we got some rain and wild thunder and lightning. And, it's kind of become typical lately.
So climate change.
Yeah, I think someone's messing with the climate. They call that weather modification, just in case you know.
Okay. Yeah. I saw some Secretary of State, I think it was for Wisconsin, put out a video today talking about hail, and it's all climate change. She was blaming it all on climate change. So that's kind of where my mind went on that one.
Well, there is some pretty big hail being reported. We're talking, 5-inch in diameter, which, man, those travel like 90, 100 miles an hour. 3 inches are like 85 miles per hour. If you get hit with one of those things, it's going to knock you out.
It's going to mess up your car, too, pretty well.
Oh, 100%. It'll break out windshields completely and dent your car and everything.
Dent every panel and the whole 9 yards, where your insurance company's like, look, you need a new car, bro. So, I don't know. Anyway, we get into some news here. And, I got to give this guy credit, Eric Swalwell. On Sunday night, we were talking about what's going on. Should he drop out of the race for California? We said, yeah.
Right.
Should he leave Congress? So I was kind of like, well, I want to see a little bit more before the dude drops out of Congress. Like, if it were me, I'd be holding on a little bit here. And about 10 hours later, he resigned from Congress. So I thought it would take a while to get him, because when you're in Congress, man, you're there for life. Like, I don't care that you had sex with women. Like, he can get around that with time and the right PR. Bill Clinton did it multiple times. You know what I mean? It's just, how bad do you want it kind of thing. But he must have been pressured from on high very heavily because he dropped out Monday morning sharp and early. So Eric Swalwell is no longer a member of Congress. He's no longer running for the governor of California. I don't know if he's any longer a, happily married husband or if he's going to be bumming it around the West Coast. He was also recently kicked out of the mansion that he was living in Beverly Hills, where his billionaire friend was letting him shack up. The billionaire guy, threw him out of the house and changed party affiliation to Libertarian. So he burned some bridges there.
I can imagine.
There's something going on here we don't know about, is what I'm saying. I guess.
Hang out with the guy. He's always giving me the creeps, man. Big time, He seems like a creeper, but who knows, right? I mean, but here's the thing. Anna Luna sort of alluded to the fact that maybe there's more on him that's just being withheld, hasn't been released, and maybe they're saying, hey, man, you probably need to step down because they've got more's coming out on you. And it was maybe one of those things where it's like, hey, you probably should step down because we're going to release more stuff. And
if you don't.
Maybe.
If you don't.
Yeah, that's
right. Because I don't think we'll see that stuff now. Now that he's resigned, I think he'll just disappear into the woodwork, and they won't bother. They'll save him the, embarrassment by just saying, "Hey, you did what we asked you to. Thank you very much. You're a good boy. Here's a, since you did it so quickly with no pushback, then here's even a consulting job for you to make $100,000 a year."
Yeah, and don't hook up with any more Chinese spies.
Now you can, man. Now you can. You have no more clearance. You got nothing, right? What do you work to a Chinese spy at this point?
Unless you're doing it for the good guys, the white hats, then it's because you're the one that's actually doing the spying. If that's the case.
Yeah, and if you meet a hottie from North Korea, you probably should, think twice as well. There's some countries out there you want to be a little cautious of.
I mean, you would it's amazing how much espionage really goes on. And Russia's one of the best out there, they say. Russia has some of the best infiltration of any nation in the world. So they kind of are a big threat because they're a pretty big nation. And apparently they're very good at infiltrating, putting in moles and things like that.
Yeah, I imagine America is as well. I mean, you can only imagine how many people we've got out there around the world, poking around, honeypots, you name it, just seeing what they can learn on a day-to-day basis, embedded deep, into the systems. It's probably more common than you think, but yeah, I digress. That's his story. Eric Swalwell is out, and couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. The trick here is that there's a lot of this going on out there, folks. You know what I mean? He's not the only one. And, they're even saying here he could go to jail for some of this stuff. It's, he apparently, one lady, worked for him. She sexually assaulted him at one point. She later agreed to meet with him in public somewhere, had one glass of wine. She thinks he spiked it. He doesn't remember anything after that and ended up in a hotel room,
Yep.
Talking about the vision she had of like being strangled and,
Yeah. Like
almost died. And
she thought she was going to die. I think this is like she said. So yeah, that's some really dangerous, and it's lunatic stuff like we would expect from the lunatic left. And I hate to even say that because it's just it sounds so crazy saying it. But man, Jeffrey Epstein, Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones. I mean, all this stuff is just weird, and normal people don't understand it. They don't get this esoteric stuff that these people are tied into. I mean, just go think of Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick. That was not science fiction. That was a reality he was trying to convey to the public, and his daughter even admitted that.
Yeah. And now that this stuff is coming out there, I mean, there's police departments that are looking into it, and so I mean, he might have to go to trial. He might do time. If he's found guilty of what they're accusing him of, and there's multiple accusers out there, then he could very well go to jail. And so the story isn't over, but you see somebody like this who's willing to go out and time after time lie about everything, lie through his teeth about everything. You just watch him go out and lie week after week, and they let him do it. Nobody ever questioned him when he came out and said the most ridiculous things.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to go out and lie to the country that you're supposed to represent in no uncertain terms for the money, then there's really no limit to what you're willing to do. You've sold your soul.
As the saying goes, oh, how the mighty fall. And I think that's why I get a little joy out of it when you see someone that's as narcissistic, arrogant, cocky, and out of control actually fall. And I don't want to wish any harm on them, but fall from their positions of power, okay? Fall from their positions of power so they can no longer hurt anybody.
Yeah, what do the Germans call it? Schadenfreude or something? It's where you watch someone that you don't like fall from grace and you kind of smile a little bit, behind the scenes. You don't want anyone to see that smile per se, but, you're not pissed.
I'm not angry about him being busted. No, not even in the least. Exactly.
It's kind of funny, but I don't know. We'll take it from there. So he resigned. Let's go to. I gotta love this Joy Behar clip. This Joy Behar clip from The View here. Listen to this.
Saying I'm the Messiah. I'm the Messiah. Jesus Christ. Have a little bit. Well, that's exactly what he said. I am the. You know what? He did not. It's been a minute. Here's the thing. The Pope's got him. He's got God on it. She just said I knew Jesus. Jesus was not narcissistic like this guy. And when you are the Messiah, it's not narcissism to say it. Yes, it is. When you are the Messiah, I'm going to move this along because this is like it's cheap.
Wow, Barry, I'll let you take it from there.
So she's saying that Jesus was narcissistic because he claimed to be the Son of God. Is that what she was saying?
No. She said he never claimed to be the Messiah. He wouldn't have done that. He was too nice of a guy. And he would have been narcissistic had he called himself, the Messiah. And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
No,
like he completely said he was the Messiah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I still kind of along the same line there. I mean, it doesn't make him narcissistic. It does make him either Lord, liar, or lunatic, as they like to say, though. I mean, it's kind of one or the other. So I wouldn't say narcissistic if he wasn't who he said he was, but many Christians use the phrase, well, when they're sort of evangelizing, he's either the Lord, he's a liar, or he's a lunatic. It's kind of one or the other. And when you make those kind of claims, it's one or the other.
Yeah, well, I mean, the key here is that has no idea about the story of Jesus, right?
Right. Well, she's Jewish, isn't she?
Joy Behar, I don't know. I
I'm not
don't know.
saying she's a believing Jew, but I think her heritage is Jewish. But I may be wrong on that. So,
Yeah. I don't know. The trick is she comes out and said, I knew Jesus.
I knew Jesus.
And
What is
yeah.
that?
I don't know. But like she's trying to convince everybody, what are you talking about? I know Jesus. Like, he would never do that. It's too narcissistic to call himself the Messiah. And they're like, dude, I got Mark 14, 61.
Yeah.
Again, high priest asked him, are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? He said, I am, said Jesus, and you will see my Son of Man sitting in the right hand of the Mighty One in the coming of the clouds of heaven. Right?
Right.
She's saying, like, he never said anything like that. That would have been narcissistic. And it just goes to show, folks, people watch this show and take it seriously. Please don't do that.
How can she not even know basic fundamental Christianity? I mean, even unbelievers know that, right? I mean, they know that. I mean, they've seen all the imagery of Christ on the cross. They know pretty much what the gospel narrative is to one degree or another. Most people, right? They've heard it a million times. All they'd have to do is turn on their TV and there's some preacher preaching it, right?
Exactly. And again, if you don't know about it, just, don't talk about it.
Don't act like you're an expert on it.
Yeah, it's like I do try my best in life to just, if I don't really know what I'm talking about, I try not to, deep dive into it. But, it is what it is. So that I just wanted to touch on because it's kind of humorous. And we've got a bunch of these kind of stories tonight where they don't necessarily, many of them take a real deep dive, but they're interesting. They're interesting stuff like this.
Can we touch on one thing, though, about this that a lot of people are forgetting about? They're all criticizing Trump, supposedly that he was posing as Jesus, but I don't know that he was. He says he thought he was being a doctor healing the land. It wasn't even his AI-generated art. It was somebody else's, and it was symbolic of Trump healing the land, being a vessel, maybe a vessel of God. I don't know exactly what the intent of the person that made it, but you have literal images of Obama in Christ-like poses, right? Posing as a savior, the savior, Messiah, Jesus, right? On Time Magazine and different publications and so forth. And that was totally okay among the left. So the hypocrisy is so ridiculous, Now, if Trump had a beard, right, maybe they gave him darker hair, I would see where, okay, they're portraying him as Jesus, but I don't know that they are, right? So that's kind of a dead end unless you can prove it. But with Obama, there were many times that he was portrayed as Jesus.
Time Magazine did it on their cover. They put a halo over him.
Yeah, and they had that one, hand stretched out like Christ on the cross, like he was some kind of savior. Remember, it was Jamie Foxx who said, "Our Lord and Savior, Barack Hussein Obama." Remember that?
No, but it's very Jamie Foxx, yeah.
Yeah, he was praising Barack Obama as, our Lord and Savior, which I thought was insane, but whatever. To each his own.
To each his own. So anyway, let's go on to Texas here. It was a potential mass shooting at the Paulus Valley High School. Principal Kirk Moore was the main target, and a 20-year-old former student was there with basically two pistols or semi-automatic pistols, whatever. I mean, isn't every whatever. And the principal basically tackled him, took him to the ground, got shot in the leg, but the guy out and was able to, hold him down until the cops got there to arrest him and take him away, thereby averting a, potential mass shooting event in a school. So this principal is a hero.
100%, man. I would imagine in some of the left's minds, he's a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you would swing that, but somehow they would be able to come up with a narrative to paint him as the bad guy, just like when a bunch of people on a subway stop some guy that's completely naked and screaming and they subdue him and they think, oh, those are the bad guys, the heroes. What is it with them praising the bad guys and demonizing the good guys? How long can that keep going on? And I'm not saying they're going to do this in this situation. It would be very hard to do that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they tried.
Oh, I'm sure if you go into the depths of the left-wing social media sites, there are all kinds of people calling him, every name in the book. You know, he was too rough on this former student, 20-year-old. You know what I mean? A 20-year-old is not a student. You're 20 at that point.
Yeah.
What are you even doing there? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, he took him out, and what's his name again? Kirk Moore. Kirk Moore is a hero. So hats off to Kirk, and good job. You're the kind of people more schools need as principals, because most principals out there would slurk away, try to get security, and refuse to call the police at all. You can't have cops on the campus. So what do you even do?
Well, they would
Right.
probably write an article talking about how dangerous what the principal did was and how it could have caused more problems. And that's because of male toxicity. I mean, seriously, dude, we know they're talking points and they never change. That's why we really have to oppose them, because they really want to turn the world upside down and to where nobody is safe. Just open up borders, let anybody in, no rule of law, no police, just have, people that just come and handle situations without a gun. It's crazy. They're nuts, man. Completely nuts. They want to burn it down, obviously.
Yeah, they do. They do. And they have no solutions, though, when someone comes in like this, into that situation. Because the only solution is, a guy who's bigger than you takes you out. And that just falls in the face of, like, everything the left stands for. You know what I mean? It's not strength through strength. It's strength through weakness or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't really explain it to you.
Let's be honest. Remember in the UK, they were talking about, well, if somebody breaks into your home, don't fight back.
Mhm.
Put the keys out front so they can steal your car. Put the wallet out front so they can steal your wallet. And hopefully they won't rape you, your wife, and your kids and leave nicely, which is never going to happen. Because we see in many of these cases, and again, dude, it's like every month I see 2 or 3 cases where some psycho illegal has come over and raped a 100-year-old or a 90-year-old woman. What kind of sick person does that, dude?
Yeah, and they claim it's just a cultural difference and yada yada, but yet all cultures are equal. They just need to be explained that that's not allowed, right? If you sit down and talk to them about it and say, "Hey, you can't do this," they'll be like, "Oh, okay, we want to assimilate." So, I mean, and that's the problem, though, right? You got millions of army, fighting aged single men in these countries with no sexual conduit. You know what I mean? Like nothing. You're kind of setting it up to be a pretty, toxic, volatile place.
Oh, yeah. And in the UK, in London, and different places, you see all these stories. I think Paul Joseph Watson did another one again, where some guy is, stalking some 12-year-old or something like that. A grown man,
Yeah.
right? Because in their culture,
I saw that.
12 is like totally fine, but in ours, it's not. And they know that. They know that these people coming over, a good percentage of them are not going to assimilate, because that's the end game. They want chaos. They don't want assimilation. They don't want peace. They don't want harmony. It's the opposite of that. They want chaos. They want disorder. While all of us are just saying, hey, we want peace, we want harmony, and we want order and the rule of law restored so that everybody can function properly, prosper, have freedom, and be happy.
And I watched the same video. The guy is chasing that sicko out of there, calling him a pedo, telling him to get out. And some liberal dude walks up and tries to block his way. Because all he sees is a white man calling some brown guy a pedophile, when the brown guy was being a pedophile. He was acting like one. He should have been called out for that.
Well, if you watch the video, which you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. They freeze the frame on his face, and he looks exactly like the weak wokester Will Wheaton, who looks more like a woman who's transitioning to be a man than an actual man. And that's the way this guy looked. Completely woke, completely destroyed. His no masculinity whatsoever. Like he's pathetic, and it's written literally all over his face, which this is a season of disclosure. And that doesn't just mean that all the corruption's being exposed. It means you can look at a person now and you can see who they are without them even speaking a single word. Like you can look at a person and say, hey, that's probably a noble person. I mean, it's not going to be 100% right. But look, even they've done experiments where people will look at pictures of people and say, is this a Republican or a Democrat? People can spot it out most of the time. AI can spot it out most of the time. There are, it's like whatever you are is manifesting on yourself. And I know that sounds really deep and kind of spiritual or whatever, but it's happening. It's a phenomenon. And if you look closely, you'll see and agree with me.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. The whole manifestation of, the life you want. There was a book about that, The Secret or something. It's interesting stuff. Some people very much believe in it, and it works for them, and so more power to them. But it's really just about motivations in life. You know what I mean? If you really want to go out and get it, go get it. It's right there.
I just mean whoever you are, it ends up showing up on your face, man. Like if you're a scumbag, look at some of these people that are some of the most hardened criminals in the world that just have no feeling whatsoever. Their face is not lit up at all. I mean, they look hard. And there's a reason for that, because they are hard. And that's what I mean by manifestation. I mean, whatever's inside is now like manifesting in their eyes. I mean, look at all the different memes that have been made of all of these globalists who are, a lot of people believe, on the extreme dark side. They show pictures of their eyes and they look very dark, man. Like they're lifeless, soulless, or maybe even demonic looking sometimes. How does that happen? Is it because that's what they embrace? I think it is. I think that you eventually kind of become the person that you are, and it can be seen. And that's why people can identify it from a mile away now.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because a lot of the people we see on the left, the No Kings rallies and all these things they have a lot of hatred inside them, and they project it onto like a Caitlin Bennett or someone, where they're out there. Who's the lady that just Casanova from Turning Point USA, the reporter?
Yeah.
Got attacked the other day, thrown to the ground by a 250-pound man.
Oh, no, you're talking
after she just got up.
Savannah Hernandez is who you're talking about.
Yeah. I think her middle, she has two last names. I think Gomez or anyway. Savannah Hernandez gets thrown to the ground the other day. You see it happening to people like Caitlin Bennett all the time. People will come up to them and just project the hate that they have in their heart onto them. And it's like, you just see it in their faces. It's a hatred, an absolute vile hatred for what they think you are.
Yeah.
Not for what you believe and what you really are, what they think you are. And it's a frightening, scary thing, It's like they know a war is coming, and they got to put on that war face and be willing to go out and kill. And they're just on the verge of it. They're just on the edge of it, If, if the midterms go against them, they're going to be pissed. They're going to come out and they're going to get more violent. If they lose the president in 2028, they're going to notch it up again. And things are going to get ugly until they get their way. And by get their way, I mean the radical amendments they want. Heck, Chuck Schumer got attacked at a Palestine, rally the other day. Or it was an anti-Iranian war rally that he thought he'd be able to show up to. But it's just all the people that hate Jews anyways and hate him and hate the everything about America. And so he had to leave there kind of under threat, Wild stuff, Barry. It's wild stuff.
Well, let's talk about the guy that did that to Savannah Hernandez. He's such a coward and weak and pathetic man that he literally pushed her when her back was turned and shoved her extremely hard to the ground. She had whiplash. Her back was sore the next day. And she is pressing charges. First of all, you need to realize this about Savannah Hernandez. She's a very petite woman. Very petite. So she's not a big woman, but she's very brave and bold. I mean, she's out there and been attacked many times, physically assaulted.
Yeah, and she knew she couldn't interact with people, but she thought she could just stand there and kind of record them. And that's where she messed up.
And she couldn't even do
that. They
that.
wouldn't even allow that.
Exactly.
But on that note, Barry, we got to go to break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right. Great job, guys. We're on radio break.
There's a video of him with Jen Psaki praising him as a hero. and he's saying we need peace and harmony. And, you know, the ICE are thugs and they're violent, you know, portraying himself as a peaceful person. And she's praising him. We should play that because it's like, it's unbelievable. I mean, this guy, the left, they're hypocrites. And I think the virtue signaling is done in order to cover up their real intent. That's why they virtue signal. They pretend to be, we're the nice guys, we're the heroes, and then Jen Psaki has him on the show and says, "You're famous now, we love you, you're going viral, everybody," you know, and he's like, "We need peace, we need harmony, the violence has got to stop," and he's the violent one. He's the thug.
Is he though, or was he just punching a Nazi? You know?
Yeah, I don't know that they believe that, man. At this point,
well, I mean it. Like I said, they're ready to go to war. This is the enemy. They're right there trying to film you. You know, yeah, you're going to punch him in the face.
But isn't that sort of? But isn't that just sort of like the cover? Like, I think their virtue signaling is the cover. I think them calling us Nazis is the cover. It's the excuse they need to do their violence that they have already deep inside of them. Okay?
Yeah.
What I think. Now, there are some that are deceived.
But it's a deeply held belief, though, right? They really, truly believe it, so they're willing to act on it.
Some of them.
Because they think it's true. They really think you're a Nazi who wants to, you know, throw them in prison. So they're going to fight back because they're crazy. So they, you know, many of them think this is real. You know?
Well, it's hard to determine, really. Like, what is their mental state? I mean, it could be a number of things, right? It could be exactly what you're saying, and it could just be that these are people that are jacked up in the head, and they just want to see it all burn. Because they're angry. They got a chip on their shoulder. And why not take it out on somebody? I think that's a lot of it. I really do.
Yeah. The amazing thing, the thing that would shock our founders, is that you go there and, you know, 1,000 people can show up for a rally, and if you try to ask any one of them a question, you'll get your butt kicked. They just will not talk to reporters at all. You know, they just won't do it. They won't debate anybody ever.
They go ahead and spread it around their entire group. Okay, this person, don't talk to this person. Whereas somebody came up and asked us questions, you know, we'd probably answer them. Unless, of course, it was like maybe the New York Times and we knew they would use our talking points to basically twist them and use it as a hit piece. But as a general rule, we would talk to anybody. Look at all the Democrats that went to all the Trump rallies. We talked to them. They were like, I was shocked. They were all so nice. That's not the message that I was getting. Like you're saying, a lot of these people believe that this is true. And you see all of these people now converting over to being a Republican after being a Democrat so long. They're saying, you know, a lot of the stuff that I thought about Trump, I never even looked into to see if it was true or not. I just accepted it.
Yeah, the Trump rally is really the biggest eye-opener for people, you know. They go to a Trump rally and it's like, oh, wait, as a black man, I'm getting hugs from everybody here, you know, like.
Exactly, yeah. It's you wouldn't get that the other way around. In fact, whenever they would go to the DNC or the Democrat campaigns, they were pretty hardcore on anybody that was not part of their group. Yeah. They're definitely not for inclusivity, right? They don't want to like have partisanship and make deals and make things happen. They want to just isolate themselves and you're either with us or against us mentality.
Lockstep, man. They all vote in lockstep. They do everything. They left us everything in lockstep. They do not allow anyone to step outside the line one bit. Nancy Pelosi's done something. She's got that thing on lockdown.
Yeah, there's a new video of her that just circulating, and
30 seconds, fellas.
Was messed up on some sort of pharmaceutical drugs, or maybe just she's getting old, but she could barely speak now.
Yeah, well.
Are you sure she wasn't just drunk?
Well, it could have been a combination. Drugs and alcohol combined, probably.
Well,
and some of her ice cream that she got out of the freezer. Because we know how she loves ice cream.
And here's our countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. No. Welcome back. It's not hour 2. It's hour 1 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. Pardon my being live here, but we are live. So every now and then I might say something like that where I slip up. But yes, welcome back to the show. Folks, I'm your host, Censorship Sucks. With me tonight, we've got Bullhorn Barry on the mic. What's up, Barry?
Same old, same old. A lot of stuff happening and a lot of stuff not happening that we wish were happening, but we just got to weather the storm and keep pushing forward and keep the faith.
That's right. And in the break, we were talking about the militant arm of the Democratic Party, Antifa, how they're out there just really, my view is that they are really starting to believe that they're on the verge of a civil war and that they can be the front line. And there's a lot of people that are they're upping their crazy game, if that makes sense. They've just got that extra look of crazy in their eyes, that 50-yard stare, so to speak, where they get up in your face and they are just ready for war. They're ready to die for their cause, so to speak. And I think they're at that level, and a lot of people on the conservative side just aren't. James O'Keefe talked about, what's the point of me doing this if nothing ever happens? Why am I putting my life at risk? Why is Savannah out there putting her life at risk when nothing ever seems to happen to the people that attack them? And again, this was Portland. She got thrown to the ground several times by a man, 250-pound man, who's well known, and I guarantee nothing will happen to him. So you push a woman to the ground, so what? So what? We're progressive. We allow that as long as, she doesn't think like us, so she's not really a lady now, is she? How do we move on like that, Barry?
Well, I don't know that I think what we have to have is the rule of law reinstated so these people know they can't do these kinds of things. And a lot of this is going to be on the Trump administration. We got to start at the top because that sends a message that will trickle down to everywhere else. We need arrests, we need indictments, and we need convictions, and we need them before the midterms, at least some. I'm not saying all, but we got to have some arrests. We got to have some indictments, man, or people are not going to be happy. They're not happy with Trump about a lot of things right now. So I'm not saying all the MAGA base, but there's a good percentage of the MAGA base that is displeased with a lot of the things that Trump is doing. They're not real happy about him pushing the FISA at 702, when he said, end it. When he was running for president, he said, "In the FISA 702." They've weaponized it. It's unconstitutional. And now he's saying we got to pass it. I don't understand that. And then Massey came out and he put 3 provisions in it that would, put in some constitutional restrictions, which we need because it's already unconstitutional. So at least protect the American people and have some kind of constitutional provisions in it so that they don't abuse it. And look, a lot of people go, well, Trump's not going to do that. I agree, he's not. But the moment he's gone, it's still in place. And then they go back using it.
Well, that whole thing, that's another bag of worms. But as far as, the YouTubers out there working in the world, trying to bring us investigative journalism, trying to go on the ground, trying to figure out what's going on, Nick Shirley is one of the big names that comes to mind. And I mean, he's open about, his fundraising and what it goes to and the tens of thousands of dollars at a pop he's spending on security to just be able to walk down the street in some cases. He is exposing fraud at levels that are mind-boggling. Yet they're right there in your face, easy peasy for anybody who wants to look into it to find out what he's found out. It wouldn't take the Attorney General of California or Minnesota, for that matter, more than an hour or two on the phone with the people that Nick Shirley spoke with. And all of a sudden they're pulling up the records and they're saying, yeah, wow, you found a complete crime spree in our city. Thank you so much. Or in our state. Thank you so much. We're going to go after these people. They'll be in jail, by the end of day tomorrow. We're going to round up 200 of them, so just give us 2 days and we'll have them all in jail, and we're going to press, charges against them to the fullest extent of the law. And that's the way the world should work. It should be really simple for an attorney general to go out and do the work that Nick Shirley's done, but none of them will. And it's pathetic. These people are guilty of accomplice to the fraud. Gavin Newsom, I'm looking at you. You want to be the next president? You are, in my eyes, an accomplice to the fraud that is happening because you're now putting forward, he just wrote, oh man, getting worked up here. Gavin Newsom, quote, California is trying to pass a bill that will criminalize investigative journalism with misdemeanors, $10,000 fines, imprisonment, and content takedown. The proposed bill is titled AB 2624 and was made after I exposed mass fraud by immigration groups in America. After he exposed it? What Newsom, you exposed something here? What did you expose? Nick Shirley exposed it, you mean? He continues, Newsom does. Under AB 2624, government-funded entities like Somali learning daycare centers would be protected from being exposed if they operated inside California. Okay, I am completely mixed up. The lead up to this confused me. This is Nick Shirley writing. I am so sorry, folks. Bear with me here. I am not quoting Governor Newsom. That's why I'm quoting Nick Shirley. Okay, so yeah, that makes more sense. My apologies. Anyway, the government-funded entities like the Somali Learning Daycare Center would be protected from being exposed if they operated inside California. The enemy is truly within. When our politicians would rather protect fraudsters and illegal immigrants, it's time for us to stand up and face mass oppression from the traitors who rule over us. So California is passing what they're calling the Stop Nick Shirley Act to criminalize investigative journalism. Unbelievable, Barry. This is the kind of stuff that gets you riled up. It just gets you like, you got to be kidding me. And they're doing this in the light of day. Does this include ABC, CBS, 60 Minutes, or just Nick Shirley?
Well, it's only when it gets, close to the bone, right? Where they're being exposed and not looking good, right? Of course, if CBS does some kind of investigative journalism, it'll be on some, right-wing supposed extremist or something, and they'll be all for that. But they don't want their corruption exposed. They should be thanking Nick Shirley for saving the state all kinds of money and the people all kinds of money. But no, what they're really saying, what they're really saying is we're not going to enforce the law. We're not going to look into corruption. We're not going to stop the corruption. And since we're not going to allow you to either, because we like the lawlessness. We love the lawlessness because that's how they work best, out of the lawlessness, because they need that lawlessness, because that's a lot of times how they launder money, move money around, show favors to each other. That's just well known. Everybody knows how it works, how the system works. Now, I'm not saying that about any of these specific situations because we need to investigate to find out, but that's how it works, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that people are being bought off, that people are being bribed, and that money's just floating here and there, and there's no accountability. And they don't want that exposed. That's why they're coming up with the Nick Shirley Act. Think about it. You'd think the Nick Shirley Act would be, oh, this is great, the Nick Shirley Act. You're going to empower other people. You're going to give them money to go out and investigate. I mean, that's what it should be. Nick Shirley Act should be the state giving money and cameras and audio equipment and surveillance gear to anybody that wants to go out and investigate, because we can't afford to have our law enforcement do it because, we're understaffed.
Well, because you're pissing away too much money on the fraud to be able to afford, actual oversight.
Yeah, there you go.
If you got that $8 billion back, that's a lot of cops.
Exactly. I'm telling you, man, it's absurd, dude. I mean, it's stuff that just blows your mind. You know what I mean? You just sit there and you watch this, and they're just coming out in the open with who they are. And we've said that. We predicted that for years on the show. We're going to say, as we go deeper into this storm, this political, spiritual storm, both sides are going to reveal their true identities, right? They have to. And because really, at the end of the day, most of these far left are tyrants, and they believe that tyranny is the best way to bring order. So they're not going to have a problem at the end of the day revealing that card. It's no different than when the WEF comes out and says, hey, you're going to own nothing and love it. Well, that's the most insane, tyrannical thing you could possibly imagine, but they had no problem telling you that. Why? Because they're tyrants, and tyrants want to rule the world, and there's a big move globally to do so.
And there's a confidence in doing that. When they released that ad, they were confident that they were in an environment where this could work. I think it was about 2015 when that came out, right? I think it was pre-Trump, when they really had the confidence to just step up and say, the year's 2030, you'll own nothing, and you'll like it.
Yeah.
And they meant it. And they really wanted to go down that road. But Trump happened. And their dystopian prison, 1984 type world didn't come to be, thank God. Thank God.
Well, can I add about that? They say you will own nothing and love it, but it also means on the other flip side of the coin that they will own everything and they will love it. Perfect example, Bill Gates buying up most of the farmland. He is the predominant land owner of farmland in the United States of America right now. And do you really trust him with our produce? I mean, he wants to actually put vaccines in the lettuce. Do you really trust this guy?
Yeah.
I don't. He's also all for GMO. He loves GMO. So who knows what kind of genetic modification concoctions this guy would come up with if he's given the chance to do so.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been, leasing that stuff out to farmers and whatnot to work it. But he could one day just say, yeah, we're just not going to lease out any of the farmlands in, Montana that I own. Or just for a year. I want to let the soil, grow back, right? But yeah, and then the GMO stuff, the vaccines in food, that's scary stuff. And he can mandate all that stuff. If you're leasing from him, he can mandate how you treat, the fields, how you treat the crops, right?
Oh, you spray the crap out of it with pesticides, you know what I mean? Just toxify all of our food, because they don't see a problem with that. They really don't, man.
Well, yeah, and he's got to think about, the value to some degree, but yeah, of course. He's not going to salt the lands per se.
Well, there are pesticides that are worse than others, and a lot of nations do away with the bad ones, but we still spray some of them. And by the way, the thing about pesticides, they stay in the bloodstream long after. And that's the problem with pesticide.
Yep, and that seems like a fabulous transition to our next story about Mamdani is going to open up the very first grocery store that'll be owned by the city of New York. And it's it's going to happen like way sooner than you think. And it's going to not even cost that much. So pretty interesting stuff. I mean, honestly, it's the city of New York opening one grocery store. How complicated could it be, right? You lease a store, you go in there, you staff it, you stock the shelves, and 2 weeks from now we should have a grocery store going, right?
And by that time, they won't need any humans to run it. 95% will be all AI. They've already got AI restaurants where 99% of the entire restaurant.
But the whole thing here is, lower prices and everybody has really good jobs and, they're not going to replace it with robots because it's city run from New York and they're all about the people, right? And free, good priced food and all that stuff. So, honestly, Barry, though, I ask you a question here. If you're the city of New York and you want to open a grocery store for whatever crazy reason you just want to open a grocery store, you find one that's not open somewhere in a food desert, right, in the Bronx or whatever, you lease it, and then you staff it, you make sure all the machines, all the refrigerators, all that stuff are up to par, and then you stock it with food, and then you open the doors, right? That should take a month. I'll be generous and give you a month to get that done. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, but they need years, it sounds like, from what I read.
Yeah, 2029 is when he's expecting this thing to open up, and it will cost $30 million for one. I asked Grok, if I were to open up a grocery store in the suburbs, like a standard Kroger's or something, how much money would I need? And they suggested anywhere from like $500,000 to $1 million, is depending on a number of different variables. But okay. So let's say it's New York City. Let's put it at the top at $1 million, right? That's to stock it. That's all your inventory, your machines, everything. Cash registers, the whole 9 yards. Where's the other 29 going? How can they possibly make it cost $30 million? Is my question. And guess what, Barry? It won't open on time, and it'll be way over budget.
I think how they do it is SOP, standard operating procedure. That's the standard operating procedure for the left, is do everything wrong. and take forever
Or
to do.
government in general.
I mean, this is one thing that Trump does exceptionally well, is that when he is set to accomplish something and it's in his mind to do so, it's done quickly, but effectively. That's the difference too. Because you don't want to do it quickly and not effectively and take shortcuts that actually end up harming everybody. So quickly, effectively, but also with oversight. And it can be done. Trump's proven that many, many times with a bunch of different things. So it can be done, but that's not how they operate. And who knows where that other 29 million is going to go? Is it going to go into somebody's pocket somewhere? I would imagine, but hey, I can't prove that.
Well, this should open 30 grocery stores. And if he was going to take 30 million and open 30 different grocery stores across the city of New York, and run them effectively and somehow make the magic equation work for the city that doesn't work for any private, business in New York, which is you're going to sell everything for way cheaper and pay everybody way more. That doesn't work. That's not how margins work, right? So you're going to take a loss of probably $1 million per store forever. And now what are you doing? Now you got 30 stores open that cost you $30 million a year to keep open, which is fine and all. But now the guy that owns the actual grocery store down the road, the Kroger's or whatever, is pissed because no one's shopping there. He's going to get run out of business because the city is willing to run a profit at a loss right next door to him.
Well, when's the new election for mayor come up? What year?
Oh, it just happened, man. I don't know, 5 years from now or something.
Well, I'm just saying it could be a move to be like, hey, this could be a campaign thing. If he's not doing a good job and he said, hey, I've got this grocery store. It's going to be great. It's going to set everybody free. The prices are going to be so low. That means you're going to be prospering like never before because you're not going to have to spend 40% of your income on food because we're basically just giving it away. I mean, again, I'm just speculating here, but it would make sense if they were like, well, we could do it in 6 months, but let's wait till the next election time and I can kind of use it as a selling point because by then everybody's going to hate me and loathe me because I've been such a terrible mayor.
Yeah, it's a joke. He's going to end up like what's his name, Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recreation. The Icetown mayor, right? Just he's going to be run out of town way before this term is up, in my humble opinion. They're doing it to Starmer now. They want him gone. They want that king gone, for crying out loud. Like, how many times in history have they called for the king to just step down, get out? We don't like you. You don't represent us at all. So the King of England, man, good luck to you. So I don't know. This is a story I just find interesting because he promised so much. Buses actually cost more now than when he came into office. He promised they would be free, and then they realized that was just going to turn them into mobile homeless housing. Right? You're sitting on the corner, you're homeless, or you're freezing your butt off. There's a bus, you just get on it. It's free.
What's sad is there are solutions for most everything that have tried, that have been trued, and they avoid that. I think there's a reason for that. A lot of people that are in power don't want peace and harmony and smoothness. They always want to have a crisis that they're pretending that they're fixing.
Exactly. That's a big part of it. They don't want to fix the homeless. I mean, $80,000 a year per homeless in the city of New York is what they're spending. $80,000 a year. How do you get to that number and not just like they're all driving around like, I don't know, for that much money you can buy them all like a nice a van, a conversion, with a sink and shower and bathroom and the whole 9 yards inside there, and there they go. They're not homeless anymore. Maybe they can't drive, they're too crazy and yada yada, but you give my point. There's solutions to things, like you say, Barry. They just don't do it. They never look at that stuff. It may not be for every homeless person, but I bet you half the homeless people out there jump into that and be like, boom, I'm living now. Yeah, I'm living now. I can take a shower every morning. I can shave. I got a mirror. I got a sink. I got a stove. It's the good life. And yet they just piss away the money because they, like you say, man, this stuff has already been fixed multiple times over throughout history. We've addressed this stuff time and time again. And socialism is never the way to do it. Free market is how you get rid of these problems. The free market is the fastest and easiest and best way to accumulate capital as a country, to have your citizens be wealthy enough to be able to afford to fix the problems that still exist after they've all made $1 million, You look at places like the UAE and there's no homeless. Well, yeah, of course, because everyone's rich. They have plenty of money to take care of the homeless. So, it's not there. Certainly not in your face.
Sure. I think what a lot of it is, in a simplified term, is just the Peter principle. And that's how people rise to their highest level of incompetence. It's a very short book, and there's actually a sequel to it as well. But in that book, it's based on real case studies. And one example that they had was a remedial class where the teacher got the students actually scoring higher on the tests than the actual quote-unquote normal students. And you would think he would be awarded for that and rewarded, right? That they would say, wow, amazing. Yeah. And they would spread it to every school so that, more people.
Well, even to the normal classes, right? Whatever he's doing, it's got to work for everybody.
Exactly. Instead, they fired the guy and they said, no, we need the remedial students to go back to what they were doing, building toothpick sculptures and popsicle stick sculptures and, coloring in a crayon book. This is the mentality. They don't want to fix things. It's the Peter principle. And people do tend to rise to the highest level of incompetence when corruption is rampant. That's because they're looking for yes men. They're not looking for change. They just want people that will do what they're told so things can stay the same because they like the way things are because it benefits them. They're not looking at how it benefits the people or the students or the citizens. It's about the few elite people. That's who they're most interested in. If you're a part of their little circle, and guess what? We aren't in it.
Yep. It's a big circle. It's a big club. You ain't in it. All that good stuff. But at the same time, it is easy enough to grab life by the horns, folks. If you really want it, it is out there. Go take it. It's there's a million ways to make legal money in this world, and there's a million ways to do it from home. There's a million ways to do it on the road. There's a million ways to do it any way you can think of, and that's the attitude you have to go into it with, and just be willing to take some risks and just make it happen. That's what the American dream is all about. People are coming to America and doing that every single day. I mean, look at India. In India, they're dirt poor. They live in crazy situations over there in cities you wouldn't believe. And yet when they come to America, they're the highest earning immigrant group anywhere of any of them. They're averaging I want to say $120,000 a year. Average for the American, the Indian population living in America from India, making bank. And that's just because they come over here and they have that attitude. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to go till I make that money. And then they figure it out and do it, So good for them. But, I don't know, man. So it's easy to get down about things now and then and just lose your motivation in life. But at the same time, you got to remember, man, there's people coming over here on the boat at 60 years old who, end up owning dynasties by the time they're 75,
Let me
never too late.
Do we have
never
a minute?
too high.
Do we have a minute?
Yeah. Well, a minute and a half.
Okay, well, the thing about the Peter principle, it's based on case studies, but it's not a doom and gloom book. It actually gives suggestions on how you fix things. And one of the things they suggested was if you are actually over excelling and you're being shut down, maybe that's a sign that you should start your own business. For example, there was a guy that did some kind of a route on his bicycle, and he was able to complete the route in half the time that they could. And they said, no, you have to do the full 8-hour shift. Even though you're doing it better, you're doing it more complete. And he's like, why? Well, we can implement this for everybody and we can get it done by noon instead of by 5 o'clock. And so he just quit and started his own route, and he superseded, the other route because he was doing it better and quicker and more effectively. So there are ways out, but the system itself is kind of corrupt, man. It's systemically corrupt. So if you're going to be a part of it, you got to kind of know that you got to play the game a little bit. And I'm not okay with that. I couldn't do that. Other people can. I get it. I'm not judging you, but I would rather do
what you got to do, Barry. You got to fight.
Just like Trump said, bro.
And on that note, folks, this is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. We've got to go to break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Good job, guys.
All right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I.
Barry, you're getting fired up. Fired up here, Barry.
No, I mean, hey, CS is right, man. You know, you can't let it own you. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
Uh-huh.
You just can't let it own you. You got to break out, break free, do
Yeah.
your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's 25-year-old kids out there driving, Maseratis and Rolexes, just who earned every dime of it, at 25.
Yeah. I think the problem with making money, good money, and again, is like the insatiable lust to have more of it. Like at some point,
Yeah.
I would think once I got to a certain point and I knew I was set for life and my money was making money just sitting somewhere, I think I would then pursue other avenues of things. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be wasting my time trying to make more money. And I think that's the pitfall to money, is that the enticement to keep wanting to make more because it's a competitive thing. You know, you want to make more than this person or that person, and you want to be seen as somebody powerful. Forget all that, dude. You just need money to do what you need to do and what you want to do, and to make some sort of contribution to society. That's how I look at it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
long to get to the point. So they're making a 5-minute video.
Depending on what the channel is too.
Yeah, I'm saying
But,
some
you
people
know,
are making longer videos when they're really not long videos. They're really short videos, but they make them long for whatever reason. I don't know. What would be the purpose of making it longer when it's not necessary? What would be the purpose? Would they get more views? I don't know.
You get more commercials in there.
That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got to be like 8 minutes or 9 minutes to get a commercial break in it.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
It's probably similar on TikTok too, though.
Right. How much time do we have till we come back on?
About 3 minutes.
About 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm eating a Pop-Tart.
Cool.
I'm raw dogging it.
Yeah.
All
that sugar sounds good.
I was just thinking about after the show, I'm going to make some sopapillas, man. You know, some butter and some honey. Sounds so good right now.
I was watching this European guy from England doing a food review from American stuff, and he has a Pop-Tart, and he starts eating it, and he's like, "I don't know, it's not that good." And I'm like, "Dude, toast it. It's a Pop-Tart."
You got to toast it and put some butter on it, dude, or it's not right.
Exactly. You can't just take it out of the package and say, "Yeah, it's all right." You got to toast the damn thing.
It's crummy otherwise. You know what I mean? Crummy and crummy both. But I just had some Pop-Tarts too. The last week I bought them at Ollie's, man, because they had the organic ones for like $1.50. I thought that was pretty cheap because I think the non-organic's like probably $3 or $4. Unless you get like the off-brand, they're pretty cheap. Probably get those for $1.25.
How many are in there too, right?
I think there was
Toasties
6.
are called? Toasties? That what they're
Yeah.
called over there?
Yeah, it's like the Dollar General brand.
Yeah, full of high fructose corn syrup, guaranteed to
Yeah.
make your gut feel the pain.
Yeah. And then they use Willie's cricket flour in there. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, it's not just regular milk, it's it's cut with cockroach milk.
Cockroach milk.
Yeah, you haven't heard Willie talk about his cockroach milk?
I can't imagine, dude. Golly, is there such a thing as cockroach
Yes,
milk?
there is.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Really? Really? Like, how does that come about? How do you make milk from a cockroach? I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you like squeeze its buttocks and out comes some milk? What's going on? How do you get milk?
I have no idea. Willie knows all the intricacies to that, and he had Aunt Mama Lou blown up on a boat coming back from Venezuela.
Great.
Great. Because they mistook her boat for one of the drug boats. Great skit. Willie's the best.
I'm gonna have to text him and tell him I want to get some organic cockroach milk sent to me.
He'll tell you it'll cost you like $9.29 or something like that. 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now. Sorry about no 5.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 15th, 2026. I am your host, Censorship Sucks, and with me, I've got Bullhorn Barry on the Wednesday slot. What's up, Barry?
What's up? I'm ready for the second hour, man. Things are getting hot and ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's file this one under Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla predicted it. He said it was going down, and it's played out exactly like he said it would the day after the fire that took out Pacific Palisades in Altadena. He went on his show, and he said, look, this is Malibu. It's Pacific Palisades. These guys got checkbooks ready to go. $25 million to rebuild. Here you go. Here's a check paid in cash on the barrelhead. Go cash it and build me a house. Right? Here we are a year later, and a new report has come out. And it's simply humiliating. From the New York Post, quote, the new analysis shows just 34 homes have gone up in Pacific Palisades and Altadena in the 15 months since the devastating wildfires tore through. A shockingly sluggish pace that lags behind recoveries from other previous major California infernos. Remember, 10,000 homes were destroyed. Fewer than half have even applied for permits. Less than half have even applied for a permit, and those permits are going to take you years to get approved.
Yep.
And I mean years, folks. This will be a decade before the place, it looks like a neighborhood, looks like a place you'd want to live. And again, this is the farthest down south edge of Malibu that got burned. It's buttoned right up on the LA basin there. It is the most prime real estate in all of Malibu because of its proximity to the city. You want to go to work downtown and come back to your Malibu house, you can do it here. Most of Malibu is an hour drive up the coast. Mm-hmm. So, boom. People with deep, deep pockets ready to build, they can't do it because they can't get the permits. They know it's not even worth it to apply for the permits. You got to hire architects. You got to go through meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, and there's just too much red tape. It's never going to happen. It's a disgrace. And it's just California, man. Newsom, you want to be president of the United States? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Gavin Newsom? You are a joke. You're a clown. You can't run for president. You can't even issue building permits in LA. You can't even call the mayor there and say, get off your butt, Bass, and get this done. You don't even need to do it. You just got to call them and say, do it. And you can't even do that. You can't even be bothered to even try to make this look like a real project. And where's your train to nowhere? How's that going? Your $100 billion train track from Fresno to Bakersfield? That's going to be a big one. Oh boy, how many high school kids have a girlfriend in Fresno and they want to go see her, so they'll ride it? Like, who else is going to ride it? Nobody.
Don't forget the homeless money. Don't forget the homeless money. Where's it? Right? The millions of missing homeless money?
Yeah, billions. I mean, that was his big thing when he was, brought into office the first time around, is to solve homelessness. And look what they've done. They've spent billions upon billions upon billions, hundreds of billions on it. And they've no improvement whatsoever. Not one person relocated. They give them needles, they give them drugs, they give them everything they need to stay out on the streets and get high. But that's it. It's a shame. You want to be our president.
Shameful. It's a testament to everything we were just talking about how they don't want to fix anything. And it's intentional. It's by design, which kind of makes you wonder, well, why? Why don't they want to fix things? And we kind of explained why, but it even goes deeper than that, because these are people that want to burn it all down so they can rebuild it in the Great Reset model. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if all those lakeside Malibu properties get turned into a 15-minute city, low-income housing, 15-minute cities or something. I mean, they want to level
on the beach
everyone down, right? I mean, look, there was a video circulating online of London in major distress after who knows what, a riot or what, and it's just paper and fog and smoke, and this is what they want for us, just chaos, constant chaos. And then they want us to celebrate the chaos as if it's a good thing. They don't clean up the streets. Same thing in New York City. Every time I see a video on X, the streets look awful. The trash is piling up. I don't know what's going on there, but I certainly wouldn't live like that. The rat problem, the infestation of giant rats that probably look more like armadillos. They're so big. I don't know, man. These people don't want to fix anything.
Yeah. No, it's they want to be able to complain about the issue so they could say they're going to fix it without ever fixing it. I mean, that's why they love global warming so much, because you can't fix it. You can't even prove it exists, but you can demand money and get people really scared about it. That's why they love COVID so much. Because again, you couldn't even prove it existed, but they scared the crap out of people and got so much money and so much control in that period that otherwise they never would have gotten. If you want big government, you're going to come up with crazy stuff like that and push it on the people. There's so many racism. The racism was not a problem when I was younger, man. It just wasn't. People got along so much better, and they've just pushed the divide because they want it to be there, because it allows them to do big things that they normally wouldn't be allowed to do, because they can say, hey man, this country's so racially divided, so racist, that we've got to take drastic steps that cost trillions of dollars to fix it.
And then these people believe this DEI woke, racist nonsense, the ones that actually believe it. You want to distance yourself from as far as possible, because it's not based in reality, and you get around them and you want to hang out with them and get along with them, and they're bringing up weird things like, well, that's racist, when it's not, or maybe you get some white cauliflower served on your plate and like, man, I'm really offended. I mean, you're eating white cauliflower, right? Don't you see what you're doing, man? I mean, that's extremely racist, man. I'm black. You're eating white cauliflower in front of me. And remember, it was ALC that was talking about that, how that was all racism, like cauliflower, brown paper bags, highways, everything. And so all of that DEI stuff is designed to put barriers. And I don't want to be even 10 feet from these people. I don't want to hang with these people because they're nuts. And I'm afraid that their woke mind virus might infect me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it spreads. I mean, it's not going to infect you. You're past that, Barry.
But it would affect me in a way that would annoy me and agitate me. And I wouldn't be able to tolerate that kind of insolence. I would not be able to tolerate that kind of madness and insanity, because I would just want to look at the person and say, man, wake up. Are you that stupid? And then you say that and they go, how dare you? You're racist. I'm like, no, dude, I'm just trying to wake you up because I actually care about you.
Yeah. If you expect me to come to your desk and wonder where you are, and I ask the person next to you, where did them go? Joe's not at his desk. Where did them go? That's not English. I'm not going to speak that way. I don't care if it's respectful or whatever. It's disrespectful to me to ask me to use not English. It's not English, right? How do you?
That's right.
I'm not going to break my language for you. It doesn't make sense. Pick something that works. Fairy cloud. Where did fairy cloud go? I can do that. But they, them, no. You're singular. You're not plural.
That's right. And in Canada, they're just now passing a law, I believe. I don't know if it's actually passed, but I think it's passed like the House, and maybe it's going to the Senate or what have you. But essentially, they call it, what do they call it? Something naming.
Dead naming?
Anyway, I'll come back to it in a second when I find it. Go ahead and just go from there, but I'll find it here in a second.
Oh, well, I was going to slightly change the subject here to Canada Corner.
Oh, well, it's called dead naming. That's what
dead naming.
And that's now classified as a gender-based violence in liberal Canada. And this is exactly what nations do if they want to collapse a nation, this kind of nonsense, right? They're going to criminalize, like dead naming. I mean, you want to collapse a society, that's exactly the kind of stupid stuff you do. Try to force your morality on everybody else and tell them if you don't agree, we're going to put you in jail.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Canada, the Prime Minister Mark Clown Carney, Clown Show Carney, won a major victory. Okay. Basically, they just had an election up there, and the left won, and in a pretty big way. And now it's just that much faster that we're going to watch Canada degrade. And, they just hate Trump so much that anybody who came out and said, Orange Man bad, thunderous applause, you get elected, right? I mean, that was probably most of their campaign slogans were simply Orange Man bad. Ask them any tough question, Orange Man bad,
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, Canada, good for you. Good for you. In another couple months, Alberta is going to be voting on whether or not to leave Canada.
Oh, okay.
And this is only going to motivate them that much more to say, yeah, it's time to get out of here, folks. Let's leave. Let's become something other than Canada's toilet, Canada's dumping ground, Canada's lackey, their little slave boy that pays all their bills, They've got all the money. And if Alberta does it, then Manitoba is right behind. You know,
I-
it's the way it's going to be.
I heard if Carney retires, when he retires, that maybe Lady Gaga wants to go out with him, since Justin Trudeau, Katy Perry have such a good thing going. I mean, he might try Lady Gaga. Maybe they might find a connection.
Hey, why not? Why not? It's although I don't know his marital status, I might bet money he's married, but he might not be, or even if he is, who cares, right? It's Lady Gaga.
I don't think they care.
Yeah.
He'll
They
pull
both got their freebie. She's got Mel Gibson and he's got Lady Gaga. If it ever happens, it happens, and we allow it. That's what marriage is all about, right?
That's right. And they can eat out of plastic bowls and plastic cups and anger all their base.
That'd make a good movie, wouldn't it? Good comedy, where like the husband and wife both have their dream thing, and like all of a sudden the wife actually hooks up with the dude, actually meets Brad Pitt and has sex with him, and now the husband's all desperate to track down Lady Gaga to hey, can you do me a favor?
I'm not following
exactly. Trying to
exactly.
get even with my wife. Can I sleep with you?
Oh, okay. It sounds interesting though. Well, I mean, hey,
yeah, so
they're the global elite,
funny,
man. Imagine
I can make that funny.
They've got sides, dude. They all got their little sides, probably. They're all like Dominique Strauss-Kahn, having those wild Freemason orgy parties that they go to.
Or
as reported in, I believe it was the New York Times, they reported that's where he learned of these wild, eyes wide shut type orgy parties was through his Freemasonry connections. And again, definitely not like your typical porch mason, who's just going to do a good deed. This is like the elite Freemason type stuff, right? Where they got these orgies, and hey, if you're part of the club, you get to come. But it's a good thing he never became the prime minister of France, because he was poised to win, and then he got caught, I guess, either coming on to one of the maids at a hotel, or maybe he assaulted her. I can't remember all the details, but yeah, he was going to win, and he got caught, got busted, kind of like Swalwell.
Yeah, it goes on. And then there's Tony Gonzalez from Texas, who just resigned from the House today as well, over an affair he had with, I guess, one of his staffers who ended up killing herself afterwards.
That's
and
good.
I think this is the same dude, if I'm not mistaken, who served his wife divorce papers right when she was like a month away from giving birth. So really nice guy. Really nice guy.
How nice of him. Yeah. Very, very kind, considerate, and compassionate. Loving and tolerant.
Yeah, the divorce thing, hey, I don't know, but it all blends together. I know it was one of them. It was one of these guys in the House that did that. So, which one, who knows? It all blends together, my lord. Who even knows nowadays?
What would make a great reality show is a big brother for all the House of Representatives and the Senate. And there's a camera on them 24/7. And they're followed for 6 months. And everything is shown. Man, that would be the greatest hit ever, dude. I mean, that would probably close networks. I mean, they wouldn't even so many people would tune into that, dude, to see it.
Oh, just for the stock tips.
For the stock tips alone.
Yeah. I mean, just for the stock tips, you're talking big money there. All the insider stuff, you name it. They could never obviously do that, but yeah, it'd be ridiculous. They go in their room, try to, cut a deal, and you get to watch them cut that deal. Let's sell him down the road.
Yep. Everything.
Let's make them think we're going to support him, and then pull the rug at the last minute to get this.
Of course, they would have to not know they're on a show. I don't know how that could be legal, because they're obviously, if they know they're on a show and they're in front of the camera. I mean, because we all know that politicians are fantastic in front of the camera. It's what they do behind the closed doors. So it has to be done in a way to where they don't know they're on camera. They don't know they're part of a reality show, and everything is getting exposed. Can you even imagine?
Yeah, that's something else, man. But I don't know. Let's move back into New York. They're trying to pass a law there that will make BB guns. Okay. I'm reading from Breitbart. Quote, legislation being pushed in New York would redefine BB and pellet guns as imitation weapons, raising the legal age for buying one and requiring that said weapon be painted brightly. So, folks, they're coming after your Red Ryder.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one called? Cross something? What's the other one called? The other big brand for pellet guns and pump guns and BB guns?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Crossman. I think Crossman's what's called. I had a Crossman and a Benjamin pellet gun and had all that stuff growing up.
Yeah, I mean, they just got... after World War II, you went to any high school in the country, you'd see a bunch of pickup trucks, and those pickup trucks would all have gun racks. In the 60s, even in the 70s, gun racks, common thing. And then all of a sudden, they started changing the culture, changing everything, and flipped it all around so that they weren't allowed anywhere near. They never had shootings back then, ever. It was never heard of. It was just, people were common sense back then. They were part of a community. They felt like part of a community. Yeah, you have your problems with somebody, you go out and you have a fist fight, and then that solves it. You don't get a gun and start shooting people. That principle, Blake Miller, that just didn't have to exist back in the day. Something has happened to our schools, to our kids, to our youth that has changed the dynamics to the point where these school shootings are a thing. It's somehow possible, comprehensible that somebody could think that was something that you would do today. It never existed back in the day. It just didn't. And something has changed in our society to make the minds break to the point where this is now a possible realm of reality to live within. Yeah. And I don't get it, Barry. I don't know how society can fall apart so much and then just blame the gun the whole time. It's not the gun. It never was the gun. It's society. It's something we're doing to our kids.
Well, a lot of it's propaganda, social engineering. It is in academia. It is in the media. They're painting a particular picture, making everybody angry on purpose. Remember, even Klaus Schwab talked about how there's going to be an angrier world. They're trying to make an angrier world to create the chaos and get people angry. And you never see, when there's violence on the left, you never see the mainstream media calling for peace and harmony and stop the violence. And no, they just double down every single time, man, because they like the chaos. They want the chaos, man. And then they make movies about it, right? Like Civil War and Don't Leave the World Behind, Obama's movie, which is all about division and chaos and war and civil war and, death and hate and intolerance and racism. And they're just stoking the fires of all of that stuff on purpose to keep us divided. You got to be a real weasel to be like that. Who wants to live in a world of chaos? I just want to live peacefully, man. And that's why so many people are doing the nomad thing, like traveling around in vans, and they just don't want any part of society anymore because it's just gone to cuckoo land. And I totally understand it. People living out of their vans, people selling their homes and saying, I'm buying this van and I'm just going to travel, me and my wife, and we're just going to live the good life and we're not going to have to deal with all the crazy. And I get that. But at the same time, we got to have people that are going to fight against this insanity, or else it will just grow and grow and grow to the point to where we're all totally enslaved. And I just don't want it to come to that.
No, I don't either. And that's kind of part of the reason why we do this show every week, folks, to just keep you aware of what's going on in the world and where the crazies are and what they're up to and how we can maybe slow them down, or at least at the very least be aware of them so we can spread the word. But we've got to go to break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break. Really, is that how it is for you, John? When you're out there in nowhere land?
I got some good news. J.D. Vance has now said that he is in the process of opening an investigation into the Pizzagate conspiracy theory after he read strange words involving pizza and grape soda in the Epstein files. Vance has now publicly pledged to follow up on this matter.
I've never heard of grape soda before. What the hell is grape soda? I don't even want to know.
It sounds
Actually,
like...
don't tell me.
I think it's adrenochrome. I think, because it's grape, and grape could symbolize blood, perhaps.
Yikes.
J.D. Vance said that, and he said this tonight, that people in emails from the Jeffrey Epstein files referencing pizza and grape soda reminded him of the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. He says they should be investigated and announced he was going to follow up on that.
Mm-hmm.
That is being reported in InfoWars, and there's a video to accompany it, so apparently it's legit. So we may be getting some arrest indictments and convictions, hopefully sooner than ever. I mean, they keep dangling this carrot in front of us all the time. We're investigating. There's an investigation. Arrests are coming. Even Oz was talking about all the corruption in California, right? And how we're looking into it, but nothing's still been done. It's like, and the whole thing with all the MAGA people that just believes Trump can do no wrong, like, well, they have to make sure they got, no, it's like you said, it can't take that long to start arresting people, dude. You know what I'm saying? Start arresting some people. Show us that you mean, that you're serious about draining the freaking swamp.
Yeah. Because they're not.
It makes me wonder. I'm starting to have some doubts, man. I think it's going to inevitably happen, but I think it's because their hand's going to be pushed, just like looked like it was pushed to release the Epstein files. That didn't come easily. I don't know. I think it's much easier in D.C. just to go along with the show as normal than to rock the boat. I think it's much harder to rock the boat because there's such a power play there, man.
Sorry, I've been eating my Pop-Tart here through the break.
No problem. I gotta get something.
Do.
Had to get a snack.
Nice. What'd you go with?
I didn't really have anything, so I got a banana, dude. About all I had.
That's not nothing, man. That's a banana.
All right.
That's
We're
good.
going to come back a little early, guys, and here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 15th, 2026. With me tonight, we've got Bullhorn Barry on the mic. And, it's great to kind of dive into all the news that's going on because some of it is just kind of a blast from the past. I haven't heard much about this in a long time, but the radical Democrat Virginia governor just signed legislation that will basically take away the electoral votes and move to a national popular vote system if the person who if you get more than 51% of the votes, then they move the electoral votes over to you regardless. So if you win the popular vote, there's a number of states out there: Arizona, Michigan, New Hampshire, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, who are promising places. All right, let me start over here a little bit. Abigail Spanberger, I'm just going to read here from Gateway Pundit, signed legislation that would enter Virginia into a controversial national popular vote interstate compact. This dangerous move effectively strikes a match to the U.S. Constitution. Virginia becomes the 19th jurisdiction to join the compact, bringing a total to 222 electoral votes, just shy of 48, just 48 shy of the 270 needed to activate the plan. Okay, so this is where I was spoken before. The additional 48 are from 6 additional states needed with electoral votes: Arizona, Michigan, New Hampshire, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. If enough of those states sign on to this, okay, then all of a sudden it changes everything. Under the compact, once the 270 threshold is reached, participating states would all award their electoral votes to the national popular vote winner. This would apply regardless of how voters in each of their own states actually voted. In effect, state election results would be rendered meaningless, and we would just go to a national popular vote. So if this happens, folks, no longer will anyone ever try to get votes out of, I don't know, Tennessee or Virginia or whatever. It's going to be California, New York, Miami. That's where you're going to go. The big cities, Chicago. You're going to go to the biggest cities and you're going to get the popular vote. You don't care about the electoral votes anymore. You could care less who wins Montana, so you're never going to step foot in the state. You're never going to go to Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado. You're never going to hit any of these states because they're too small. They don't matter. You need to go to the big, big, big cities where you can pull big, big crowds and get numbers, raw numbers. Jay-Z, get those Beyonce numbers. That's what it's going to turn into, is a popular vote. And it completely upends the Constitution. Whether or not this is legal or not, I don't know. But Virginia signed on, and now, they're that much closer to making this happen. It's a Democrat Party wet dream, because how many times have Republicans won the electoral vote but not the popular vote? And they'll point to all those times and say they would have won. So, I don't know, Barry. What do you say?
I don't know much about it, man. I mean, I've heard about it, but I feel like I would be misinformed. I'm misinformed, so I feel like I might be. I'm probably not the person to give my opinion just yet. I apologize for that.
Hopefully, I just informed you about it pretty well.
I know, but I haven't really looked at it. I still.
My job is over.
I don't still. It's just for the state of Virginia, right? Only.
Well, this is one more state that's joined on to this group. So they're now, of 220 electoral votes, are represented by the states that have signed on to it so far. So they need just an additional 6 states to sign up for it, and it will become, the new way that votes are decided, that elections for president will be decided.
But it can't be federal elections, because that would be unconstitutional.
Yeah. They don't care. They'll just go in and cast their state's votes for whoever won the popular vote. Forget the electoral college as we know it, right? 270 to win, doesn't matter. You could see a Republican get to 270, but then all of a sudden this kicks in and every single state that signed on to it switches over to whoever won the popular, the Democrat, and poof, the Democrat is sworn into office a month later, even though the Republican got 270 votes. In the news analysis through the night, live coverage of state by state by state. Does he cross 270? Boom, he crossed 270. He won. No, he didn't win, because now the states say, "Hey, let's look at the popular vote. We have to go with whoever wins the popular vote." It's ridiculous.
Now, when you say signed up, does that mean it's now official, or does it have to go through their Congress, their state Congress? I mean, what? I don't understand.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a compact that they're put together that, they've accepted. I assume that meant it went through, the House, and then the governor signed it. And so now it's, they're officially signed on. But for all I know, it could just be the governor that's doing it. The article doesn't really get into the details of that, but my understanding is that it has to go through legislation, and then the governor would sign it. So,
I mean, if it's official and it's already happened and it's gone through all the proper procedures, that's scary. And I would imagine that it would immediately get, constitutional questions. I mean, immediately there would be lawsuits, I would imagine. I can't imagine there wouldn't be pushback if that actually came into being. I can't imagine that. I mean, we got way too many people that on our side that would push back quickly. Sounds more like
the Supreme Court would have to look at that. They'd have to look at that and say, no, you can't do this. Or maybe you can. I don't know. But I would think they'd say, no, this is completely illegal. There's no way you can do this. I would hope.
Yeah, they'd probably go through lower courts and then probably make its way all the way up to the Supreme Court, I would imagine. Because you know how the Democrats are. They'll just keep pushing, man, until it goes to the Supreme Court. And then they decide. Hopefully they would decide right. I mean, I'm not so sure I have a whole bunch of confidence in the Supreme Court right now either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't either, quite frankly. But but it just upends the Electoral College. It means nothing anymore if they're allowed to do this. And that to me seems ridiculous. There's no way, you can watch a Republican get 280 electoral votes on election night, but then the next morning you find out that the Democrat actually got the popular vote, so therefore he won the election. It would be upheaval. It'd be revolution in the streets, and the Supreme Court would have to step up that day and make a decision. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine this happening. I'm just being honest with you, but we do live in crazy times, and it's exactly what we've talked about. The Democrats and the globalists, they're really not in a position of power right now, so they're just doubling down wherever they can put their policies into place, the foothold strategy, like I like to call it. And so it's not surprising that they're trying all kinds of tactics, the Nick Shirley Act, more, just doing everything like they always do. But at some point, if we challenge them legally and lawfully, we could put an end to a lot of this stuff, man. But that has to come, like I've said before, arrest, indictments, and convictions. However, J.D. Vance said that he's going to be looking into some of the Epstein stuff just tonight. He said that, so hopefully that happens. But they keep saying investigate. We're going to investigate, but I want results of the investigations. I want arrests. I want indictments. I want convictions. I want to know where we're at in the investigations. I don't want to, a year ago say we're investigating, but then never hear about it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes on and on and on, man. It's a never-ending thing. Now, this story's been in the news for a number of years because they've been trying to slowly get this state by state by state to, be picked up and made into law. And it's a slow process, but, they seem to be doing it. And it's crazy to me how they can just look themselves in the mirror at night after they do this stuff. And this lady in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, is like wacko nuts. She ran as a centrist, but she's so far to the left, it's shocking. Just shocking. And that's what you get, folks. That's what you get. You vote for crazy, you get crazy. You vote Newsom into office, you get California all over coast to coast. They really want to make laws that make it illegal to leave. Well, not illegal, but very, very expensive to leave a blue state like California or New York. So that when you leave, you don't just leave and take all your money with you. You still pay taxes there for a long time afterward, because they're seeing the writing on the wall. They're losing all the money to Florida, and Florida doesn't even need it. Florida's ready to get rid of property tax because they got more money than they know what to do with.
Well, it looks like things are being pushed towards secession, like not on the right now because we've got the conch, we've got more of the captain of the ship right now, but they definitely aren't going to consider secession. I would imagine that, in fact, we've heard California talk about it being a possibility, so they may go that route too. And you know what, man? At the end of the day, I don't know if I would stop them or try to. If they decide to secede, I'd be like, okay, because within a matter of 2 or 3 years, they'd be begging to come back into the United States. They'd be begging because they would collapse the state completely if they did it on their own accord.
Yeah, it's crazy. Wayne Allen Root, another radio host, he put out an op-ed the other day where he talks about this national divorce and how it's really not such a crazy idea, and he starts talking about some of the things that are happening in these cities. Mamdami's proposing new taxes on white neighborhoods, okay, to make sure white people upon death won't be able to pass their life's assets onto their children, okay? Then we had this cop that was recently sent to prison for throwing a cooler at a criminal who was dangerous, armed and dangerous, was trying to leave the scene, and he threw a cooler at the guy. The guy hit the gas, crashed, and died. And so now this cop is going to go to prison over that. He looks to Minneapolis, where they are instituting gay bathhouses back again. Right? They're legalizing gay bathhouses where you can have orgies in public. And they're kind of bringing that back after, they banned it when AIDS came out. Colorado, they are voting. Colorado election official Tina Peters witnessed the rigged machines, so she saved the proof. For this, she was arrested, convicted, and sent to prison for 9 years. 9 years for a Gold Star mom in her 70s. Just keeping evidence of what was happening, what she saw in the county that she worked in. And she tried to keep the evidence so that she could show people this is what happened. 9 years in jail, As of March 30th, it's now the law. Every attorney in Colorado must sign a radical anti-ICE pledge under penalty of perjury that they will never use or share any information from court records to assist ICE. Every attorney has to do that now, even though it may be illegal for them to follow up on that. It may be against federal law for them to do that, but they have to sign a pledge to the state of Colorado that they will break the law if needed. So, folks, it goes on and on and on. The crazy, and we haven't even talked about Portland, Washington, the lunatics that are running these places. Yes, there's a serious case to be made for some sort of I don't want a great American divorce, but something that just says, hey, man, let's jink up states' rights. Let's lower the federal government down to next to nothing and just make it all about the states. Give states the rights that they need to keep the crazy out. We don't want to turn crazy. You guys can turn crazy in Minneapolis if you want to. Go for it. We don't care. New York, California, do what you got to do. We don't care. We'll just leave, go someplace not crazy, and live there. So, national divorce would look more to me like, stay out of my yard, I'll stay out of yours, but you're nuts. Texas, I'm looking at you, Colorado, you're crazy. Florida, looking up at New York, going, man, they all left. They came here for a reason. You keep your stuff up there and get out of our state, and don't even try to put your tentacles into the pockets of the people that have come here to get freedom from your tyranny. It's craziness, man. It's craziness.
It sure is. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Barack Obama's nickname to a lot of people was Barack Bathhouse Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one guy, I can't remember his name, who basically testified that he serviced Obama in that manner. And he was on Tucker Carlson. There's an interview with him, and you might want to check that out because he seemed very compelling and convincing to me. And this is kind of where Barack got his nickname of Barack Bathhouse Obama. And this was kind of during his earlier days of politics, or maybe even pre-politics when he was younger. But watch that interview with Tucker Carlson. I can't remember the guy's name, but you can just ask ChatGTP or one of the AIs. They'll give you the information.
Yeah, it's a thing. It definitely was one of the reasons I thought he was a very unlikely person to win the presidency. Okay? Because quite frankly, he had a past like that. And he had a lot of questionable things out there as well. Nobody who went to Columbia with him ever saw him. No professors, no students, nobody. There are people like Wayne Allen Root who went to Columbia same time, same major, same everything. He never saw Barack Obama. How? How is that possible? You graduated in the same class, the whole 9 yards. You never saw the dude.
Yeah. And I would imagine he was making a scene. He was activated politically, so I'm sure that people would have seen him if he was there.
Yeah. He went from a mediocre school out west to suddenly you're in, Columbia, and then you're straight into Harvard law. It was just a fast track. It was very, very questionable. But nobody, where's his college transcripts? They won't release that. Never have, never will, They can't. I guarantee they can't.
And you hear people all the time on the left say, well, I think one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, and what I'd do to have him back is Barack Obama. And I'm like, really? He's like one of the worst. Only Joe Biden supersedes Barack Obama as, the worst president we've ever had. Barack Obama was about as anti-American as you can possibly be. Started the whole race division. A lot of people thought that he would come and put a seal on that and make things even better than they already were. Instead, he divided us even more. And Michelle continues to divide, continues to promulgate her race baiting, divide and conquer propaganda chance she gets. So, yeah, Obama's one of the worst presidents ever. I said he was probably the worst, but now that Biden's been the president, I don't think anybody can top him. Nobody. Because he didn't do anything. I don't even know if he was there. He didn't sign anything. I mean, the picture at the White House of all the presidents doesn't even have his face up there. It's just the auto pen.
Yeah.
Thank God for
exactly.
that. He did that. I'm so glad that Trump did that because somebody's got to speak the truth. But now do something about it. How come we don't have investigations into that? Or supposedly we do. Well, where's that at? Where's the investigations with the auto pen? We still don't know who's running the country.
Yep. No, we don't. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Like, and they want more of that. And Kamala Harris wasn't going to be the one running the country. She could care less. She'd have her feet up, getting a pedicure with a, mimosa and be happy as can be. She'd never wanted to do all that work.
No.
She's just not cut out for it.
She just come out and laugh and say some word salad and love it, She's just a what do you call it? A front man, a figurehead.
Yeah.
That's all she would have been. Just like Biden was. He was a figurehead, although he was really never really seen. He was in the basement or, vacationing in Vermont.
Yeah, even when she was the Attorney General of California, I think you'd be very hard-pressed if you went to research in the archives of California that she ever really brought any charges, any cases in her name, like where she was lead plaintiff, or lead attorney. I was plaintiff, defendant, lead attorney. It just didn't happen, Hey, good luck. You might find a couple. But anyway, let's move on to woke Hollywood, because I know this is one of your favorite things. Malcolm in the Middle is doing a reboot with Bryan Cranston and the whole 9 yards. And remember Stevie from the show, his little black buddy in the wheelchair?
No, not so much, because it's been a while.
Yeah, well, Malcolm had his best friend, Stevie. He was a Craig Lamar Taylor. He was he was a ladies' man. He liked the women. He was always crushing, trying to, make way with the women and wheelchair bound. Now he's all grown up. He's a gay. He's married to a guy, and they've got a kid together. So, in other words, they're making it woke. Malcolm in the Middle, in the original, they had 3 sons. Now they've got 3 sons and a non-binary child as well.
Oh, man.
So they introduced a 4th kid who's non-binary. So the review says, don't waste your time. It's modern day Disney being modern Disney again and again and again. Yeah, don't waste your time. But I don't know, Barry. Easy, slam dunk. Bryan Cranston. You got him. Malcolm in the Middle reboot. Let's make this great. Or not.
It could be great. Do you mean? I mean, I like, what's the guy that plays the main character? I think he's a pretty cool guy. I like him. He's stepped away from Hollywood, had a couple of strokes, unfortunately. He's a race car driver. I've listened to interviews with him. Seems like a really nice guy. I can't imagine that he would connect himself with such a thing. But what I don't understand is non-binary people make up such a small percentage of the population, yet they're everywhere, in as if they're the predominant force in America. Like everybody's non-binary. So they're painting this picture, which is a false picture, I guess, to get people to question their gender and to possibly become non-binary. Just like you've seen where in certain schools where they push this, all of a sudden people are now saying, well, I'm non-binary, or I'm definitely bisexual. And they never said that before until they were being taught all of this kind of stuff in the education system. And then at those particular schools, they're like all of a sudden 50% of the kids are all either non-binary, gay, or transgender, when that's just because they've been brainwashed into thinking that, because they really make up less than 1%. Very bizarre what they're trying to do to our society. They're trying to collapse it.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it 100 times. I would have, done 30 years ago, you got a kid, you put him in front of an app that plays Disney for him all day, and oh my God, that's great. My kid can now watch Disney, and he's going to be happy for the next hour. I can go get something done. Now, I would not put my kid in front of the Disney app and just let it run on auto dial, because it's going to show that kid some really weird stuff he's not going to understand. You're going to have to have a long talk with him to explain why two boys were kissing each other in the Disney after school special that he just watched, Like, whoa. This is just, you're shoving it in their face everywhere. It's got to be everywhere, And I'll give Disney credit. They just brought back the ladies and gentlemen to their loudspeaker system at Disney World and Disneyland. For a long time it was, hello everyone, or folks, or whatever, and they brought back ladies and gentlemen, which good for them.
Yeah, and how much longer before they go back to all the classics and they start changing the classics and making them woke? You might want to get your DVDs and your Blu-rays of all the classic Disney stuff before they go and change that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. When you're dependent on streaming, they can edit it at any point and change it.
I've heard that they are in some things. I mean, I know there was a big conspiracy going on for a while. I never really researched it to see if it was true, but I saw that a lot of the cartoons were going back and putting in chemtrails in some of the cloud scenes.
Just so, yeah.
So there you go.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Just to condition you to that, to think it's normal. Whereas back in the day, it wasn't. They never had them back then, so you wouldn't put them in.
Well, apparently Mexico has banned them outright, a blanket ban since 2023. I believe it was January 2023. And a video came out on X of somebody in Mexico, and he was showing how clear and clean the skies are every single day. And then he showed clips from, different places in Florida. Even though Florida has a ban, they're still doing it. I think the ban only covers certain altitudes, so maybe that's how they're able to get around it, or maybe they're just not willing to prosecute anybody for the crime, this horrible crime against humanity. But it's clean air over there, man. Imagine that. So I think a lot of people would consider maybe moving to Mexico if they have a serious problem with, breathing in all that nanoparticulate matter that's toxic.
Yeah, or folks come out to Arizona. They don't do it out here where I'm at. It just doesn't, I've never seen them in Southwest Colorado. You wouldn't really see them. You just got to get away from the population centers, and they don't do it as much. It's also much drier air out here, so it's harder to see the stuff. But yeah, no, I've never seen them blow it out here, like ever. Maybe once a month you'll see the full contrails that go all the way across the sky and linger there and then grow into one big sort of giant gray mass, which is what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. That term's called gray out. I think that's kind of it's now considered the official term, a gray out, which is just basically a gray haze pretty much over the whole city when they do it. And it's not contrails or sustained contrails. Those take specific conditions. And a lot of the stuff that we're seeing on satellite imagery is at the lower altitude levels where you can't have sustained contrails at all because you need supersaturated cold air, negative 40 degrees, to even make that happen. So clearly they're spraying.
Mm-hmm. Clearly they're spraying. And it's a regional thing. It varies by where you are in the country. So, you hear us talk about this stuff and you may not see it and think it's crazy, but others do see it on a daily basis and they understand it. And, again, I don't see it where I'm at. The summer, winter, it doesn't matter, and I travel around a lot. You don't see it in the West. Probably you do over LA and, bigger cities like that, possibly over Phoenix. I don't know. But just not so much out here.
I think you're absolutely correct on that. We're probably by some military air bases, and maybe that's why we get hit so heavily here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But another reason
you're in the breadbasket too. You're growing food there.
Yeah. Well, during the summertime, the temperatures even at the mid altitudes don't even hit the temperature needed to create sustained contrails. They're 5.
And on that note, we got to end it here, Barry. Sorry, we're out of time. Plump out of time. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. We're out of time, but stay tuned. There's more from our producer, Dragus Productions, right after these messages.
Great job, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening out there. And Barry, you did an awesome job. Thanks so much.
Yep,
We'll see you next Wednesday.